Good to have you in today's discussion, where we're going to look at the atom. In our last class where we talked about matter, we said matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. It also consists of three different states called solid, liquid, and gaseous state. And these three states has the ability to be changed from one form to the other based on what? Change in temperature. Based on that principle, we now have a concept on the atom that says the atom is the smallest indivisible or indestructible particle of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. This theory was put forward by a scientist called John Dalton in the 19th century, where he was the first scientist to describe or discuss about the atom. John Dalton says that the atom is indestructible and it is the smallest particle of a substance or an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. According to John Dalton, all elements are made up of atoms, and the atoms of a particular element are alike in every aspect, while they are different from the atoms of all other elements. He also went further to discuss and put forward a theory that says atoms combine in simple whole number ratios. Also, according to John Dalton, the atom is indestructible, that is, it cannot be broken down into smaller particles. In any atom, there are equal number of protons and electrons. When we say electrons, what do we mean? We are talking about the negatively charged particles of the atom, while the protons are the positively charged particles of the atom. Of course, the atom also has another particle called the neutrons, but this time around, the neutrons do not have a charge, so their charge is nil. In any atom, we have the protons, the electrons, and the neutrons. The neutrons and the protons are positioned in the center of the nucleus in an atom, while the electrons are revolving around the atom in an orbital manner, or in the form of an orbit. We said in any atom there are equal number of protons and electrons. So we can conclude by saying in every atom, protons is equal to electrons. Of course, protons simply means the atomic number of the element, or it is the same as the atomic number of an element. So let's assume you are given the atomic number of an element and you are asked to find the number of protons or the number of electrons. It is the same as the atomic number of the element. The element also has mass numbers. So if you are asked to find the number of neutrons, what you simply do is to subtract the number of protons from the mass number, and that gives you the number of neutrons. Let's take a look at the picture we have here about the atom. So here we have the nucleus of the atom consisting of protons and neutrons, while the electrons are revolving round in an orbital manner. So we have the electrons here revolving in an orbital manner. As we said earlier, in any atom there are equal number of protons and electrons. So if I have 3 electrons, for example, revolving around the orbit, I should also have the same number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. So with that, we've come to the end of today's class. But join us in our next class where we'll discuss more on molecules.